Hi, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Leo. Welcome to Yoga with Lynn and Leo.
And welcome to our first day of 18 days of yoga. And you can see Leo's got some equipment here, so we'll be going through that in a moment.
Okay. And if you haven't been with us before on our channel, then welcome to the whole new world of Iyengar yoga. We do have some equipment here which we will be using in this sequence. I've got a bolster. You don't need to have a bolster, you can use folded blankets. I've got a couple of foam pads, 2 bricks and a belt. It's good to have these items, but if you don't have, a bolster can be replaced, as I say, with a couple of blankets, a belt with a rope or a cord. The 2 bricks, you could use a couple of books, and the 2 foam pads, folded towels or blankets.
And this is how it's going to work today. We're going to be practicing a nice long routine, and then in the next few days we're going to isolate some of those poses and go a little bit deeper into the practice.
So on this day 1, give it a go, do the sequence. Lynn will be doing the classic poses. She's wearing the white t-shirt. I will be doing the modified poses using some of this equipment. So have a look, see which one you want to follow, and if it's presenting a few difficulties, then have a look at the subsequent days and you'll be able to look into those poses in a little greater depth.
Day 7 we're going to have another new routine, and again the same way we're going to be isolating some of those poses and going into a deeper practice.
So let's get on your mat and get going.
And welcome to Yoga with Lynn and Leo. Be in the centre of your mat, preparing for Tadasana. Get a good grounding into the feet, spread your toes and lift through your legs. Lift out of the pelvis. Reach all the way up towards the chest. Roll your shoulders back and down and keep the chest nice and open. Preparing for our first pose, Trikonasana. Take the fingers to the chest, soften your knees and jump the legs wide. Utkatasana. Check that the feet are in line with one another. Lift up through the centre of the body and turn the feet, left foot in, right foot and leg out. Hinge at the hips for Trikonasana. Ground down into that back leg and pull up with the front leg. Keep the strength in the back leg as you extend the spine from the base to the crown of the head. If you're able to turn the body, then look up at the fingers. Otherwise, look straight forward. Take a breath in and coming out of Trikonasana. Turning the feet to face forward. Re-establish Uttanasana. Keep the lift through the centre of the body as we turn the legs to the left. Keep the lift again as we hinge at the hips. Taking your left hand down onto the shin, top arm up. Ground into that back leg as you extend from the base of the spine to the crown of the head. If it's possible to turn, then look up at the palm, but otherwise keep the glance facing forward. Taking a breath in, coming out of Trikonasana. Soften the knees and jump those legs together. Back to Tadasana. Steady the breath. As you can see in the video, Leo is taking a belt. We're preparing for Virabhadrasana 2. If you find balance is difficult, then use a belt. Take the fingers to the chest and jump the legs. The stance is slightly wider than Trikonasana. As you can see, Leo is creating a length with the belt. Keep it taut as you turn the feet to the right. Soften the knee, come into your square. Keep the action in the back leg. Keep strong in the back foot bone and lift up through the centre of the body. If you're not using the belt, keep those arms really nice and straight as you come out of the pose. Turn the feet to face forward. Keep the lift through the centre of the body as you turn the legs to the left. If you're using the belt, remember to keep it taut. Bend your front leg into a square. Keep the back leg strong and straight. Keep the lift through the centre of the body. Be strong in those arms and then come out of the pose. Turn the feet to face forward. Soften the knees and jump the legs for Tadasana. Keep the length through the body. Roll your shoulders back and down and soften the breath. Our next pose is Adho Mukha Svanasana. If you find this pose challenging, if it's difficult to lengthen the spine, then use a belt. Take a look at Leo in the video. Use the belt around the arms and come into the pose from a bent leg position. If you're quite strong in the pose, then you can see Lynn in the video is in a prone position. Whichever way, tuck the toes under. Press into the palms and come up into Adho Mukha Svanasana, dog facing down. Keep the work in the legs and the arms. Be strong in the wrists and extend the wrists into the palms. Pull up through the upper arms, through the side waist. Keep the front of the thighs lifting strongly and extend back with the legs. Continue to scan the body. Be sure that the arms and the legs are straight and lifting. Become aware of your breath. Be sure that the breath is smooth and even. To come out of this pose, either jump or step the feet. As you can see here in the video, Leo is stepping her feet. Just take a few moments before coming up into a standing position. We're going to prepare for Utkatasana and Uttanasana. As you can see here in the video, Leo is taking a couple of bricks to bring the floor level a little higher. For her arms, she's going to use a belt to keep them straight in Utkatasana. This is a really good way to train the arms to lengthen. Extend the arms up into Urdhva. Keep the extension throughout the whole of the body. Soften the knees and take the weight back into the heels. Come for Utkatasana. So it's as if you were sitting back towards a chair. Keep the lift through the center, keep the arms nice and straight. From here we come for Uttanasana, either on the 2 bricks or take the hands to the floor. If you're able to come for the classic pose, then keep the legs strong and straight as you take the hands a little bit further back, eventually to the sides of the feet. If you're using the bricks, keep the length throughout the spine, all the way through towards the chest. Coming out of the pose, maintaining the strength in the legs. Standing Tadasana. Keep the legs strong and straight. Lift through the centre of the body. Move the shoulder blades deeply towards the back waist and open the chest. We're going to be coming into a chest opener now in Supta Sukhasana. So depending on how you can coil your chest, then have a look at the video. Leo is using 1 brick and Lynn is using 2. If you still find with 1 brick it's a little bit challenging, then you can also take a blanket for your head. As you can see, the pose is Sukhasana. We're going to start to arch back, touch down onto the brick so that the brick is at the base of the shoulder blades, and then lengthen through the body and coil. As you can see in the video, Leo is taking her shoulders to the floor. Lynn has taken the top of the head. Fold your arms and reach your arms above your head. So if you find this quite challenging, then you can extend your arms onto a blanket. Let the breath become smooth and even. Remember to use the thighs and ground down for the extension through the centre of the body. Go back to your breath and keep it smooth and even. Keep the coil of the chest as you release the arms and change the cross of the arms. By using the props, it helps us to work in a slightly different way. Be aware that the muscles are extending, but also we want to work passively into the action. Usually when we come into poses like this, they are longer stays. Work on your breath, observe your breath, and soften the breath. To come out of the pose, we have to ground down with the legs again to give us support. Release with the arms, press into the palms, and come into a seated position. We change the cross of the leg. And again we come for our supine action. Keep the lift in Sukhasana. Take your hands behind you. Go on to your forearms. Just pause there for a moment. And then take yourself back. So the body has been informed. The body learns from the first side and then gradually it can ease into the second side. If you have a deep opening in your chest and you're using both bricks, then just take a moment or two to coil over without taking the arms completely, and then folding the arms and taking them above the head. By using the prop, it will help you to maintain the opening of the chest. This allows you to observe the rest of the body. Take the intelligence into different areas. Start from the base and ground down with the legs. See that you maintain the lift from the base of the spine. Continue to open the chest and weight the arms down. Change the interlock of the arms. So again, straightening the arms and folding in the opposite way. Keeping the weighted action of the arms, and now work on your breath. So observe the breath. Without creating any tension, let it become smooth. Let it feel the chest cavity. Do this gradually. So a soft inhalation and exhalation. To come out of the pose, again, ground down into the legs and push yourself up. Move the prop out of the way. We're going to come for a kneeling position called Virasana. So if you have a look at the video, if you have difficulty with the knees or stiff ankles, you can see in the video that Leo has 2 foam pads. You can go higher if you need it. The preparation for Lynn was sitting on the heels and then moving the feet to the outer sides of the hip. If you're sitting on the foam pads, then grip the sides of the foam pad. Take the hands onto the soles of the feet. Encourage the pliability of the feet by moving the palm of the hand onto the sole of the foot. Keep the little toe side grounded down. From that steadiness and the moving down with the shin, lift through the spine. Keep the breadth and broadness in the collarbones and the shoulder blades reaching down towards the back of the waist. Keep the focus forward. Keep the quietness in the facial features. Soft inhalation and soft exhalation. To come out of the pose, take your hands forward, take both feet to the side of the left hip, and then re-establish your seated position. This is preparing for Bharadvajasana twist. As you can see here, the top foot rests on the insole of the lower foot. Lift up with the left arm and reach up as you turn. Take the left hand to the outer side of the right thigh. Back hand to the floor, or as you can see in the video, Leo is taking her hand to a brick. Maintain the grounded action in the left side, left buttock towards the floor. As you ground down with the left side, lift up even more through the center of the body. Take your focus into your arms. Use your left hand on the thigh to get more of a lift. Use your back hand to turn. To come out of the pose, reach the legs out in front of you. Extend the legs before you go to the next side. Just pause for a moment. Reach into the heels, ground down with the thighs. If you're sitting on the support, use the bricks beside the hips to get a better lift. Re-establish the action to your right side. Take the legs. Place the top foot on the bottom instep. Use your hands beside your hips to get the lift through the spine. Reach up with your right arm, turn the torso and take the hand to the outer left thigh. Use both hands to encourage the lift through the center. Ground down with your right buttock. Broaden across the collarbones and roll that left shoulder back. Soft inhalation, soft exhalation. Continue to reach up through the center. Coming out of the pose, taking the legs out in front of you. Sit in Dandasana. Again, if you're sitting on height, take a couple of bricks for the hands and maintain the lift of the spine. Our next pose is a supine action. We're coming for Supta Tadasana. Come from a bent leg position and lie down. Extend the legs slowly with resistance. Scrape the heels until the legs become straight. Reach the arms down by the sides of the waist. Go and extend along the thigh as if you were in Tadasana. As you reach the arms, keep the arms lengthening to encourage the shoulder blades to deepen their action. Let the abdomen become soft. Flatten your hands to the floor and now extend the arms up above the head, palms facing up towards the ceiling. If you find it quite challenging to take the arms down to the floor, take a look at the video and see that Leo is using a bolster. This is very helpful to get a fulcrum to encourage the arms to lengthen. As you lengthen into the arms, extend into the legs. So we're reaching the arms and the legs into the heels at the same time. Encourage that length between the hip and the lower rib, lengthening the side waist. Let the breath become smooth and even. Keep the length and keep the extension as you take the arms back down to the side of the waist. We're coming for Urdhva Prasarita Padasana. If you find taking the legs up to 90 degrees a challenge, Then have a look at the video and see that Leo uses the belt. If you have length and support in the abdomen, then reach the arms above the head. Take the legs to 90 degrees. If you're not using the belt, then extend towards the fingertips. Reach through the center of the body and extend up through the legs. If you're using the belt, then use the belt to encourage the leg action. When gripping the belt, be sure that your arms are straight. Pull on the belt as you extend the feet up into the belt. Keep the legs lifted and the thigh bones moving towards the back of the thigh. Keep the abdomen soft and directed. See that you lift from the pelvis all the way through to support the spine. To come out of the pose, soften the knees and release the feet to the floor. Either keep the knees bent or the legs straight. Come up into a seated position. Sit in Dandasana. We're coming into a pose called Paripuna Navasana, boat pose. As you can see, Leo's taken a belt around the upper back region and the feet. So if you know you struggle with this pose, or when you attempt it, it's challenging, then take a look at the video and use this as an option. Bending your knees and then straightening into the belt eventually. If you're coming with straight legs, extend into the heels. Keep that center of direction lifting from the base of the spine all the way through to the top of the spine, reaching the arms. So this is quite a strong action on the abdomen. It's important to keep the abdomen soft and directed, soft and lifted. Come back to Dandasana. If you find that you collapse your back in Dandasana, then come back to the 2 foam pads. You'll find this way will help you to understand the length of the spine. Take your 2 bricks beside your hips and lift up. Use your hands as a fulcrum. Extend into the heels and ground down with the thighs. From these actions of the legs and the arms, maintain the lift of the spine. Move your shoulders back and create the depth in the shoulder blades, moving towards your back waist. Keep the chest lifted. Once you have the frame, then concentrate on your breath. Let the breath become smooth and even. Preparing for our next pose, Chatushpadasana. This pose is practiced from a supine action. As you can see in the video, Lynn is lying in a supine action with the knees bent. If you know you have a stiff lower back, take a look at the video and see how Leo is creating 2 handles with 1 yoga strap. Coming into the supine action. Just let the abdomen soften towards the spine side. If you're holding the ankles, then bend the knees into the chest, hold on to the front of the ankle. Press into the feet and lift the back of the pelvis. Move those upper arms in towards one another. Ground down into the feet again, lift the back of the thigh. It's always good to practice this several times. So if you find it too much to have longer stays, then lift and release and go again. Continue to move those arms in and lift the back of the pelvis. This is a very good way to open the shoulders in preparation for some of the inversions. To release down out of the pose, lengthen the pelvis towards the heels. and then let the abdomen release. Just take a few moments, letting the back settle. We're going to prepare again, so taking hold of either the belt or the front of the ankles. Press down into the feet and lift up. So again, be sure that you're taking those arms towards one another, either using the belt or the front of the ankles to lift the back of the thigh and the pelvis. Lengthening the tailbone and the back of the pelvis to come out of the pose. Let the abdomen soften and take time to let the back muscles release. Coming out of your supine action, coming up and preparing for Setu bandha. As you can see here in the video, Lynn is using 2 foam pads and a bolster on top. Leo is using a bolster. So there's different heights. If you have quite a long spine and an open chest and you're able to coil the chest over the higher support, then take the pads and the bolster. Sitting on your bolster, sit at the front end of the bolster. We're going to take the legs straight eventually, so have some support to place your heels onto. The legs need to be in line with the pelvis. As you take yourself back, coil off the end of the bolster. Keep your knees bent and then gradually straighten the legs. Taking the heels onto the top of the support. Reaching into the heels, pulling up the kneecaps and thighs, and keeping the length through the centre of the body. Just let the shoulders release down. Once we are settled in our frame, then it gives us an opportunity to work on other aspects of our practice. This pose is very good to quieten the nervous system. Start by scanning the body. Revisit the legs and extend into the heels. Lengthen through the centre of the body and weight down with the shoulders, keeping the chest open. Quieten and soften around the eyebrows. Release around the temples. Let the back teeth be apart. Watch your inhalation and exhalation. Take your intelligence into the upper body and watch the ribs as they expand on the inhalation and recoil on the exhalation. Take your time and let the breath become smooth and even. You may notice how the breath moves away from the surface. Use your breath to keep the focus within. If you'd like to stay in this pose for a little while longer, then do so. Finish with the Shavasana. For the video, we're going to bend the knees and roll to the right side. Just be there for a moment before coming up into a seated position. Clear your mat and prepare for Shavasana. As you can see in the video, Leo has taken a bolster to place underneath the back of the thigh. Lynn has taken the bolster to take on top of the thigh. So depending on how your back feels, then use the bolster either under the thigh or on top of the thigh. Shavasana is our relaxation. Start to scan the body from the head to the toes. Start with taking the observations within the forehead. Release any frown lines or any tension. Release between the eyebrows. Let there be a smoothness as the eyebrows release. Release the temples. Release the facial features. Release the jaw. Release the throat. And let the shoulders weight down. Become aware of the arms and the rotation in the upper arm. Have the fingers and the palms facing up towards the ceiling. Let the fingers coil towards the thumb. Release the abdomen and let the legs weight down. Come to your breath. Watch the breath as you breathe through the nasal passage. Watch how the ribs expand, broaden, and then recoil. Continue to watch the breath. A soft, slow, passive inhalation and exhalation. Let the whole body release on the exhalation. If there's any tensions, then just breathe into those areas and let the body release a little further. Do stay in your Shavasana if you're feeling relaxed and you'd like to stay a little longer. We're coming up out of this action now, so those of you joining us, then roll to your right side. Just be there for a few moments, just keeping that depth and awareness within. Come up into a seated position. Finishing our practice in a Sukhasana action. If you need to sit on the bolster, then sit on the bolster and just be there for a few moments, a few inhalations. We hope you've enjoyed our first day of 18 days of yoga.
And if you found it a little troubling, some of those poses, a little difficult to do, don't worry. In the next few days we are doing tutorials on the poses, and you can have a look at those. We will break down the poses a little bit more, do them more slowly, so if you're not familiar with some of these poses that we've done in this routine, do keep on looking for the following days. And if you subscribe to the channel and opt for notifications, you will get notifications when the new films come out.
Yes, and do stay with us for the 18 days, because we've got, at the end of this series, our National Iyengar Yoga Day, so we're going to do something special on that day.
Absolutely. So we'll hopefully see you tomorrow for day 2. Namaste.